Tarantula from 1955 was directed by Jack Arnold. It starred John Agar, Mara Corday, and Leo G. Carroll. But the real star of this movie is the monster element in the form of, you guessed it, a giant tarantula terrifying the countryside. This movie has the 1950s sci-fi monster thing down pat, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it today. So let's take a look at Tarantula. Before we begin, if you are new to my channel, please consider helping it grow by subscribing, and don't forget to click the bell icon for future notifications. Now, the first thing I'd like to talk about is the director, Jack Arnold. He has done many classic sci-fi films, including The Creature from the Black Lagoon, It Came from Outer Space, and The Incredible Shrinking Man. We have covered all of those here on this channel, so feel free to go check out those videos. And yeah, he is cool. I looked at his filmography, and he's got a lot of cool stuff going on. He did great work back in this time, and Tarantula, in my opinion, is right up there with him. It is a fun movie. I enjoy it a lot. So basically what happens is you have this desert town, and I think it's Arizona, small town. Of course, you got to have those in these kind of movies. And there is a doctor played by Leo G. Carroll, and he is out in the desert in a secret lab somewhere. And him and his team are working on a formula to increase people's food supply. It's basically he's working on a formula that would be synthetic food because he's worried about the population overgrowing. And what they do is they put radioactive isotopes into this formula. Again, this is 1955, and the whole nuclear fallout, radiation, atomic age thing is in full swing here. So he's given this formula to a bunch of animals. He's got guinea pigs, he's got rats, and of course he has a tarantula. And what this does is it messes with their pituitary glands and it causes them to expand. But of course there's got to be some humans that think, I'm not going to wait till trials, that's going to take too long. I want to get this going. So they inject themselves and they become pituitary freak mutants. And yeah, what happens is there's a fight. During the fight, the tarantula gets out and it starts growing from there as it's traipsing through the countryside. Now, a majority of the movie does that thing where it starts off where we're introducing us to the main characters. So of course there's John Agar. He plays, I believe his name is Dr. Hastings. He's our main character. And then Mara Corday is Stephanie Steve Clayton, who is like a grad student or something like that. And they become the two that are going to discover this tarantula's out there and try to rally the troops, that sort of thing. But it takes about the first half of the movie to actually get to the tarantula, because it's doing that thing where the characters are running around trying to figure out why weird stuff is going on in their town or in their vicinity. And it turns out there's this basically a giant monster, but it's hiding out in the desert. No one sees it until it starts wreaking havoc. Then the second half of the movie is when the monster actually starts amping up its kill count. Starts with eating cows. It likes to eat meat. It gets into explaining the anatomy or the dynamics of real tarantulas. And if you got one that's as big as a building or a mountain, it's going to eat cows, and then it starts eating people. And of course we get all that sci-fi mayhem come out of that. But it's fast-paced. It's only about an hour and 20 minutes, I believe, and it does what it's supposed to do. It hits all those good notes. You have the characters, you show the setting, weird stuff is going on somewhere outside of town, little strange things they're finding, and then the mayhem amps up from there, and it leads to a big climactic battle against this monstrous force. Will they survive? Hey, it's a 1950s sci-fi movie, you tell me. But it is fun. I really enjoyed it. So what I got here is a Blu-ray. I actually picked it up from the library. This Blu-ray is great. The image was crisp and clear, and the sound was great. They just did a great restoration. And this is the one I watched, and they did a good job. There really aren't any bonus contents on there other than a commentary track from some film historians, that sort of thing. No documentaries or anything like that, but the transfer looks amazing. I recommend it if you want to watch this. Definitely look for the Blu-ray, and you can get it from your library, just like I did. As always, I got the clipboard of creeps here. I looked up some fun stuff, so let's check it out. Okay, so first thing, the spider that portrayed the giant tarantula later appeared in The Incredible Shrinking Man, which came out in 1957, and that was the spider that was threatening the Incredible Shrinking Man. That is cool because Jack Arnold, like I said before, directed The Incredible Shrinking Man, and they used the same spider from this movie in that movie. Pretty neat. Tarantula was the 4th biggest film at the U.S. box office in December 1955, earning $1.1 million. Now, that is interesting to me. That means it was definitely a successful film. And one of the things I like about this movie is it is a precursor to spider movies that I kind of grew up with. I'm thinking of Arachnophobia from the 80s, and then a little bit later, when I was a little bit older, Eight-Legged Freaks, that came out in the early 2000s. And from my memory, those were pretty successful films, and this one was successful in the time it was made. So I guess people have a penchant for giant insect monster movies. It was popular then. It was popular when I was little. It was popular when I was in my early 20s. And if they made a giant spider movie today, it'd probably be popular on that front. So I just think that's kind of cool to look at. And then in a blink or miss it bit part at the very end of the film, you will see a young Clint Eastwood. That's right, Clint Eastwood appeared right at the end of this film in a very small part as a fighter pilot. You don't actually see his face because it's covered with one of them jet pilot breathing air masks, but you see his eyes and he has a couple of quick lines. You can hear his voice. It's most definitely Clint Eastwood. He had gotten his start doing small parts in movies like this, and this was one of his first roles, and I think that's cool. It's Clint Eastwood, man. You know what he ended up doing in film, and he got to start doing stuff like this in movies like this. Very neat. Okay, that is my look at Tarantula from 1955. This is a fun Saturday afternoon popcorn, put it on, lay back and enjoy monster movie. I had fun with it. It's been a long time since I've seen this. I mean, since I was a little kid, but it brought out the little kid in me just now as I watched it. I recommend it. Fun stuff. So, thanks for taking the time to watch my video. I appreciate it. I will be coming at you with some more classic films very soon. So please consider subscribing if you haven't yet. That'll help us out. And look for us next time. Thanks again for tuning in. And until then, have a good one.